Shalom. I pray that God gives you understanding of these things. Amen. Now, when you talk about worship to God, what do you understand by it? Somebody tells you, okay, let's worship God. What comes to mind? Very often, what we talk about worship, we are talking about songs, right? You sing, and in those songs, you kind of reverence the Creator, and worship is actually very, very important. I mean, basically, uh, this is what we are, consecrated for, to serve in God's presence, to, worship Him, to actually burn incense, okay? To burn incense from the altar within the temple, which is our heart, which is within our body, and the incense we burn at this time. One of a part of that is the songs that we sing, and it is very, very easy, even in end time, or in most gatherings really, whereby you begin to sing, and before you know it, the spirit in quote takes control, and you are already lost in the mood of it, and you are you cannot even describe it. Now, what is an acceptable worship actually? Now, before I do talk about that, I want to mention something. There has to be a contrast, or a difference made between a worship, true worship, and one that is basically controlled by your emotions. First and foremost, let me talk about the effects of music on one's senses. If you were sitting right now and there's somebody somewhere begins to play music, it doesn't matter the type of music that it is, and you begin to hear the music with the maybe lyrics or just the musical instruments, there's this kind of uplifting that comes with it. You kind of, your senses react to it. You kind of feel there's this feeling of wow, hi, this thing's having an effect, a kind of an effect on me. Okay, now this is in fact, as a matter of fact, everyone responds to music. All right, the types could be different here, but everyone responds to music. And as a matter of fact, just to show how important it really is, it is often thought of as a disorder when people don't, somebody doesn't respond to any music at all. It's kind of seen as kind of a disorder. Just so you know that, okay, 99 points, maybe 999% of people do respond to music, and that's because this is the basics. Like, this is just why we are made. And David would sing a lot of psalms to God, and God would look and say, okay, this is a man after my heart. He knows exactly what I need. Okay, now when you look at the effect of music, a good music is accompanied by very good musical instruments. The musical instrument plays. As a matter of fact, musical instruments have very, very great effect on our feelings and emotions than any other thing. As a matter of fact, in most cases, what you move to in music are the sound of the instrument. Okay, now people think that when you worship God, the musical instruments are kind of like they are like complementary or something that go together. And as a matter of fact, there can be no acceptable worship, so to speak, without a good musical instrument. But that is not always the case. God looks at the state of your heart. If the state of your heart is, is okay, is pure, your what's it called now? Your worship is acceptable. Doesn't matter whether it's done with instruments or without instruments. A musical instruments are expected to be a kind of a bonus. All right, but then you take a look at certain gatherings, and you look at the gatherings, you see immoralities, like very, very obvious immoralities are very obvious among them, and then they begin to worship. They begin to the musical instruments playing, and you see like God is there. typical end time believer to a church, and they say the church take out all the musical instruments, do not use any musical instruments at all, and let there be a 2 or 3 hour service session, and then the fellow comes out and say, oh, this is a dead church, God is not here. I could not even feel anything. Now take the same the believer, taking more to a gathering, this place with several what you call it now, musical instruments, different musical instruments, and then let the song begin. Even if it's just for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that's the song or the music or the worship lasted. And then after the service, ask him how or her, how was the service? No, what he's gonna say, he or she's gonna say, God is, no, I have never in my entire life felt God the way I felt him today. It's all deception. I mean, you have felt your emotion, you have felt kind of emotional reaction, but you have not really felt God. Because if God was indeed there, perhaps maybe 60% or 70% of the gathering would be dead already. Because, it's like the prophet of old, or the priest of old, sorry, not the prophet, the priest of old, going into the tabernacle, into the temple, into the holy place to make sacrifice. And then the same priest is, impure, having committed different kinds of immorality, and then the priest appears trying to burn incense before God. It would be smitten. Was this not what Aaron's 2 sons did? They brought strange fire. They were going to sacrifice with strange fire. And what happened? They were smitten. Now, you do different kinds of things. Live in different kinds of lifestyles. As a matter of fact, people wear certain dresses that in fact expose parts of their body that should be hidden, and then they come and then they say they are singing worship to God. And interestingly, you see a lot of people falling under the influence of the spirit in quotes. Like, is that really how it should be? I mean, is that really the spirit of God, or you are just falling under the influence of the musical instrument or whatever you have there? So now, do not be deceived when musical instruments are being used in a gathering, and then you begin to feel certain things and then you think, oh yeah, this is God. It has to be God. It is not. It cannot be. It is your senses, your emotions reacting to the musical instrument, the sounds that it hears, and that is exactly how the senses work. They are moved. Your senses are moved by these things. Doesn't necessarily have to be God. God necessarily doesn't have to be there. Otherwise, you can take musical instruments to a clubhouse, so to speak, and they begin to sing, and they begin to use this instrument. You will feel the same thing that you feel in your gathering. As a matter of fact, when you check out certain gatherings, they're already singing or singing certain songs that are identified with certain that are identified with people who do not know God. They dance, the kind of dance that are identified or among people who do not know God, and they say, yeah, I'm dancing to God. Really, he's just dancing to impress. Actually, he has certainly watched people who do not know God. He has watched them, their dance steps, their type of songs. He has watched and watched, and then he comes back in and then begins to do the same thing in the supposed house of God. Because I mean, why would God consecrate you unto holiness, but you say you still watch people who are unholy? Doesn't Not good enough.